Giovanni Boccaccio once said about this artist, "We can rightfully call him one of Florence's saints." The justice of these words is confirmed by the work of the Italian artist of the 14th century, Giotto di Bondone, Lamentation of Jesus. This is one of the frescoes of the Arena Chapel situated in Padua. A gifted painter, Giotto decorated the chapels of Florence, Assisi, Naples, and Rome. In 1304, Giotto painted the interiors of St. Mary's Chapel, situated in Padua city. As the commissioner was a rich citizen of Padua named Enrico Scrovingi, this temple is often called Scrovingi Chapel. It was built at a place which was the arena of the ancient amphitheater, hence the second name, Arena Chapel. According to some researchers, Giotto not only painted the chapel, but he also designed it. It could be probable, as Giotto's frescoes fit the architecture of the temple perfectly well. The artist followed a new treatment in depicting traditional biblical plots, presenting the events in the same sequence as depicted in the scripture. The life of Virgin Mary's parents, Joachim and Anna, is followed by the lives of God's mother and Jesus Christ, from his birth to death. Instead of presenting icons against the traditional golden background, Giotto placed his characters in worldly circumstances, depicting a landscape or buildings in the background. But where is the iconic image of the biblical figures so customary for us? Giotto's characters have wide faces and short figures. Their heavy robes of a simple cut are draped in big folds. The artist was the first to have expressed his character's feelings through movements and poses. In the fresco, The Birth of Mary, Anna, her mother, is stretching her arms to the newly born. Giotto depicted this sincere gesture to show the feelings that unite all mothers of the world. Have a look at the fresco, The Wedding Procession. There is a shining nimbus over the head of Mary who is going to the church. Why is it not round, but oval? It was a new style of depiction tried by Giotto. It must have been for the first time in the history of art that he depicted a figure in profile. It is interesting to note that in the fresco Baptism of Christ, the water is covering Christ's body up to the waist, not reaching even the feet of John the Baptist. It may seem to be a mistake by the painter, but as a matter of fact, it was a medieval practice. It was forbidden to show Christ fully naked. And now cast a glance at the fresco Raising of Lazarus. Among the many characters, we see a figure wrapped in a white shroud. This awful attire symbolizes the transit of Lazarus' soul from the world of the dead to the world of the living, and his body is only a perishable cover. The fresco Kiss of Judas illustrates the evangelic story about the treason of Christ by one of his disciples for 30 silver coins, and his kiss would tip off Jesus to the wardens. Giotto masterfully portrayed Judas' ugly profile with malicious eyes and protruded lips in the kiss. And Jesus is intently staring the traitor straight into the eyes, awaiting his own destiny. The fresco Lamentation of Jesus is a gem of the Arena Chapel of Padua. Giotto depicted the religious plot as a dramatic scene of parting with the dead. The God's mother is clinging to her son's body. Her despair is not revealed either in words and tears or through gestures, but only in her look. Her speechless expression of grief contrasts with the pathetic gestures of John and Magdalene. The angels soaring in the sky are mourning inconsolably. And only two personages, Joseph and Nicodeme, express restrained and subtle sorrow instead of stormy feelings. Christ's body is half concealed behind the massive figures of the mourners covered with coats. They add dimensions to the picture and attract one's attention to the main character. A path is leading to a tree, joining the figures in the foreground with the crying angels. The stone slope is dividing the picture diagonally, stressing the depth of the fatal loss. In the art of the 14th century, there was no work equal to Lamentation of Jesus in its emotional charge. Giotto completed his work on the frescoes of the Arena Chapel in March 1306. It is difficult to imagine now what shock the inhabitants of Padua had on seeing the frescoes of the great master of Florence. Giotto depicted evangelic personages like ordinary mortal people, who were glad to the newly born and mourned to the loss of loved ones. For the first time, the onlookers could sympathize with the people depicted in the picture. The 20th century French painter Henri Matisse wrote, "When I saw Giotto's frescoes in Padua, I did not care which scenes of Christ's life I was looking at. But at the same time, I realized the feeling that the picture exuded, as it was in its lines, in the composition, in the color."